Good afternoon and welcome. It is at the top of the day. It is 12 noon. I am Tish Hodge McFadden, the president and CEO of the Shine Institute. It gives me great honor and joy. I'm so excited, ignited, and delighted to have my guests of honor. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, and we are going to kick it off with the first lady of honor, that is Miss Roba Morshud. Can you please introduce yourself and welcome to the Zoom room?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tish, for inviting me. My name is Roba Morshud. I'm the CEO of Indie Reads, a local nonprofit in Indianapolis that does adult education.
Wonderful, Ruba. We are so happy to have you here. Welcome. Next, we are going to move on to the young lady. But before we do that, Ruba, what beach are you on? We are entering Memorial Weekend this coming weekend, the unofficial start of summer. What beach are you on this morning?
Yeah, well, this is a Zoom provided beach, but
if you could pick your favorite beach.
I'm channeling Fiji.
I love it. Woohoo! Yes, Fiji is beautiful. Give it up to Fiji. Next, we have Miss Arlyn Banks. Please introduce yourself to our community here.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for inviting me, Tish.
Of course.
Arlyn. I am currently working with Amazon as an area manager, and the beach behind me is actually from my country, Palawan Islands in the Philippines.
Woohoo! To the Palawan Islands. I gotta get there. I've never been to the Philippines. I have been to Fiji, but not Philippines. I gotta get there, Arlyn. We gotta make it happen. And I do want to just give the kind words from Miss Wilka Nascimento. Wilka is a busy international traveler, the podcast host of Leadership Talks, and she also works for Booking.com, and she had a VIP meeting, which prohibits her from being here today, but she sends her love, and that just means we have to take 2 in June. Last but definitely not least, we are going to our crowning guest of honor, Miss Heatherlyn Matthews Willoughby. Can you please introduce yourself? And I know that you and Ruba are both rocking the virtual beach of Zoom, but if you can be on your favorite beach, please introduce yourself and your favorite beach of all time.
Yes, thank you so much, Tish. I'm very excited to be here today with all these wonderful people here on this journey with us today. And I am the global head of HR for We Connect International, which is a global nonprofit focused on helping empower women-owned businesses globally, because when you impact one woman, she changes the world. So that's what we do. And I am actually doing right now, through my iFit on my treadmill, I've been doing a Hawaiian walking series. Nice. So that's where I'm at right now, a part of my Hawaiian walking series.
Wonderful. Woohoo! That's excellent. Health and wellness is so critical and so important. So ladies, I dug down into my heart and I have a lineup of questions for you this afternoon. First question goes to our CEO of Indie Reads. And it reads, you are absolutely, positively, without a doubtedly drop dead gorgeous, Ruba, right? You look very exotic. Can you please share your background with our room, you and your experience of being special and unique while matriculating the school system?
Oh my goodness, what a big question. Thank you, Tish. And thank you for charming me.
Oh yes, you're gorgeous.
And my parents have joined the Zoom.
So welcome, parents.
My looks are from Miriam and Nabil Morshud. And if I were speaking our native language, it would be Miriam and Nabil Morshud, and my name is Roba Morshud. We are, my parents immigrated to the United States from Palestine when my mom was pregnant with me. And Gosh, what a big question. My experience being Palestinian, being Arab American, growing up.
Checking that box. What are you?
Yeah. Well, for when I was a child, I'll say that, you know, in the 80s in New Jersey, growing up in New Jersey, there weren't too many other kids with names similar to mine or even different from the Samanthas and the Heathers and the Crystals. And so there was that experience of just feeling like a little bit different. And in my like early school years, I remember feeling like quite different from everybody else. I've had teachers who, you know, might seem like they were ready to celebrate diversity and asked everyone to bring in a flag from their native country. And when I brought mine in, she put it down on her desk and put it away. She did not want to celebrate and honor my heritage. I've had friends in high school who, you know, learning of my heritage decided, I don't know that I want to be friends with, you know, there's a stigma, or there was. I think I'm proud to see that it's kind of lightened up, at least in my experience. But certainly growing up, there was stigma of being Arab American, being Palestinian specifically. Like a lot of assumptions came with that, which I felt I had to respond to as, you know, as early as 5 and still do today, frankly. I'm grateful for my parents for helping me build some of the tools to navigate that and what it's like to represent all of who you are. I am not just that aspect of my identity, and my Palestinianness is not just what you see in the news. So I've certainly grown and matured from being very shy and timid and kind of scared of being othered to now, you know, I'm very proud of my heritage, and I'm very proud to share it with my children and to build that pride for them.
Wonderful. Absolutely. You nailed it. You slayed there, Ruba. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I still have my artifact, the gift that you give me, the Palestinian art. I still have that. So thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Next question goes to Arlyn. And your question is, the first question, your question is twofold, Arlyn. Can you start by telling me how many years you've been married?
Okay, I've been married 30 years.
Arlyn has been married for 3 decades, family. We gotta give it up for Arlyn. The second part of your question is, what is your secret sauce? Here today, our theme is slaying, right? As a confident lady of victory, how to triumph over life's experiences, right? And I know marriage can have that sweet honeymoon, and then sometimes it's a refining fire as well. What is your secret sauce that has caused you to be so successful as a 30-year-old veteran in the space of holy matrimony?
Actually, I would say first and foremost, it's a grace given to me. And I think we've been together for so long, but the nourishment came from being together with the Lord. I mean, I'm not religious, not really spiritual, but when I got to a point that I embraced being part of the Christian world, which I got 2012 is when it started. And that was here in Maryland, in Odenton with CBC. That's when I was able to invite my family. My son joined me too. My husband did. My daughter did. And we all are one in Christ. And I think that, you know, you go through a whole lot with marriage, but everything comes to place every Sunday. It so happened every service, it's like boom, you know, it's a brand new world for us. We start over again. So I think it's that it's just being together in Christ is what
wonderful,
stronger.
awesome. Congratulations again on 30 years. What an accomplishment. I met a couple who they were married for 60 years. I couldn't believe it. That's a long time. So I wish you that success and another 30 years to come. Thank you, Arlyn. All right. The next question goes to Miss Heather. And I am going to ask Heather, I am just going to run to, let's see. I know you talked a little bit about your organization where you worked for, but I have a couple questions here for you. Can you share, Heather, with our audience, your self-love routine for you and the healthy professional boundaries that you have established for your family in respects to balancing family life and work life?
So thank you for this question. And it is, so my day starts with, I am as you well know, Tish, I'm sorry. I work with a Trish too, so it's tongue-tied.
Mhm.
I start my day with, I'm very spiritual, and I start my day with devotionals, and just, I do meditation in the morning. And I also do breath work in the morning to help me center and focus on my day. And that is what I refer to, it's self-love, and it is a non-negotiable. And also, I'm
Yes.
going to also say at the end of my evening, before I lay my head on my pillow, I make sure that, because there's all this negativity in the world that we could focus on, but I choose to focus on what I was grateful for, and even the little things in the world that happen in my day. And I make sure that I write down 5 things that happened to me that I was grateful for, because in times of darkness, you can actually turn to those things and be reminded of how blessed you are in this lifetime. And so that's part of my self-love. And then also, as you know, I'm an avid fitness and health advocate. And it's a lot of it is about the mental, physical, and spiritual self, that tripod that you have. So I do a lot to get another non-negotiable is moving my body for at least 60 minutes. And that can be whatever, taking a walk outside, jumping up and down, doing squats, running and playing with my daughter, my 6-year-old, just being active and getting that, adrenaline rush going. The other pieces too is coming to this organization, because we do promote women's economic empowerment, and it is incumbent upon us. We have a responsibility to be accountable for ourselves in drawing those boundaries and making sure that we are walking the walk and talking the talk. And that means I log off at 6. I go take my daughter to her practice. I go make dinner with my family. We sit down, we have, communal breaking of the bread every evening. And I make sure that I show up for my children. And when they have, appointments, or they need me to come and volunteer at their school or any of their activities. And in fact, I was just asked the other night to coach field hockey in the fall, which has been a dream of mine. And because I've learned to insert these boundaries, it actually makes me a better professional, because I actually am able to focus. And I'm a global. I could work literally around the clock. But if I did that, what good am I going to be to myself and to my team who I support? So not only I show my team through my own actions that it's okay to take time for yourself, that it's okay to step away from your desk and focus on what brings you joy. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to show up and be your best self. So I hope that
Beautiful.
answers your question.
It does. Great job. Great job, ladies. Woo! My next question goes back to Ruba. All right. So in our pre-interview, Ruba, you shared that you had a similar experience after looking at my interview. I want to shout out the up and coming speaker and mistress of ceremonies, Miss Nicolette, who interviewed me. I posted last week, Monday. And so in our pre-interview, you shared that you had a similar experience. Can you share how you pushed through your cocoon. I believe that there was a course that you took most recently, which had a similar experience that helped you to grow and push forth to be the dynamic CEO and lady that you are today.
Thank you, Tish. I actually looked back at my text messages to say, what was that memory?
Yeah.
There are so many. And that interview that you had with Nicolette was really, really exciting. And I appreciated all of Nicolette's questions. And before I answer, if I may, Heather, I just want to say, like, you know, I don't know what it is, like 100%, just I agree with everything you said. Learning to establish those boundaries for yourself and doing it knowing that it's only making you better as a mom, better as a homemaker, better as a professional. And I think that there is truth in that. We can model that, and then our team hopefully feels like they have the permission to sort of set the right boundaries for themselves too. Yeah, so there was a conversation you were talking about, I think, Tish, you had in the interview, spoke about how Howard University, that your experience there helped you transform into, what was it? Transformation to more.
I'm as hard as nails. Yes, I went from a buttery, you know, margarine. You put it by the heat, it just melts.
Yeah. So I think I had. Well, I'm not sure exactly what memory was triggered at that moment, but I think what I can share is that, and I was talking with my sister-in-law the other day too about this, is that I think as women, at least my generation or my experience, and with many of the women who I share this with, there's like this tendency to not want to rock the boat, and just sort of like, I'm not a big fan of drama. Like, I don't want to create drama. I don't want to be involved in drama. And sometimes that means that we forget to actually advocate for ourselves in doing that and finding the right balance. I think a huge boost for me professionally was when I was accepted into the AmeriCorps, the Princeton Alumni Corps Emerging Leaders Program in 2000. I think it was
19. I think it was 19. Yes.
Yeah, look at your memory, Tish. It was a 9-month program, professional development leadership program, but it's really, you know, an opportunity where I was a mother of 2, working full time with the Literacy Council of Northern Virginia, and did not have a lot of time, had not had much practice in giving myself time, really, like taking that pause to reflect on where I am, where do I want to be, how am I growing? And that program like created time for me to do that, and time to learn that I can be the kind, gentle, collaborative, creative thinking person, and set boundaries and speak up for myself, and encourage others to do the same. And that program really, I think, helped cultivate some of those muscles for me to feel a little bit, really build up my confidence. And prior to that, I'll say, I didn't really see myself as a leader, because I felt like leaders are tough. And I'm a very, I'm just not a dictator kind of person. And I learned through that program that you are who you are, and you can lead through who you are.
Yes, beautiful.
So
beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of it.
Of course. Thank you so much, Ruba. You speak so eloquently, and I do apologize. I think there was like a little blip. But yes, I went from margarine and buttery soft to confident and as hard as nails. Yes. So I'm glad that we both can be our authentic selves. That's where we win. Our next question goes to Miss Arlyn. So in our pre-interview, you shared that you did the ultimate agape sacrifice. You actually laid down your career, Arlyn. You laid it down for your 2 babies. Can you tell our audience how many years you stood away, hands off from the workforce? And the second part of the question was, how was re-entering the workforce after being away for such a long time? How many years was it?
Well, actually, it was right after I had my two babies. Well, first and foremost, I am so honored to be with you ladies.
Of course.
Going back, after I had my two babies, my daughter started going to school, and it's kind of hard here in the States to, have two. My babies is a year and a half apart, so that's like two babies.
Mhm.
We decided when my daughter was 6 and my son was um, 4.5 that we'll go back to the Philippines. And that was when I was kind of a full-time mom and, doing all this. And then after, I would say several years, I started go back to work. They're back, they're now in school. I started to go back to work. And the first company that I joined was actually Starbucks, when Starbucks started to open in the Philippines. So that's how I, you know, got back to the workforce. And then it was a good opportunity for me. I think being here in the States and having that work ethics, it
Mhm.
helped get into almost all international companies. I started with Starbucks, opened the first 13 stores there. After that,
Woohoo.
asked to join another franchise office one, which is from Europe. I opened up 6 stores for them.
Mhm.
That was a national chain of stores, which is iMart, and I was with them for quite some time and opened 55 stores for them. So it was,
Woohoo. You are a heavy hitter, Arlene.
oh yeah, I was just so blessed. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting all these jobs. And then finally, one of the people that I work with this 55 chain stores, opened her own business and asked me to join her. So I joined her as one of their sales representative and marketing. So I was with them for 7 years.
Mhm.
So after that, it was like, this is just, I need to do something more meaningful.
Yeah.
So that one of our clients in that last company that I was with was Red Cross.
Mhm.
So talked to them just to do a presentation of the new products, and then ended up, Arlene, why don't you want to join us? I said, well, what do I have to do? Where do I go? What do you have open? So it so happened they have a project management group, project management that they need for
Mhm.
the remote areas.
Mhm.
This sounds interesting. So that was the time that I decided, let me go to a nonprofit.
Mhm.
And I handled, I think, about 4 projects. One was within the Philippine Red Cross. Another one was with Spanish Red Cross. And that was, Spanish Red Cross was really at the grassroots. I was at the remote areas.
Mhm.
I was sleeping in benches. No,
Woo.
it was like I was fishing with the fishermen. So it was like, and my husband used to tell me, Arlene, do you want to do that? You're not even making money at all with those jobs. And
Mhm.
true, it is really true. I'm not making any. And there would be times I think I'm giving my money to to all these communities that I'm with, because it is just so remote. And
Mhm.
telling him, you know what, as hard as the work is, at the end of the day, when these people in the community shares one sweet potato that they have with you,
Yes.
like, so touching. And
Yeah.
the things that you get from them are really, it just makes work like this is more fulfilling than anything.
Indeed. Indeed.
And another one was with Myanmar Red Cross, which is
Mhm.
different, because with the disasters that I've been with all these projects, it was mainly typhoons, hurricanes, and here I go to Myanmar and it was drought. Never experienced it, so I was like,
Wow.
this is a total learning for me. But all this at the end of the day is actually the smiles that you brought to people's lives is like, wow, this is
Rewarding.
so I stayed with him for quite some time until my daughter said, Mom, I'm done with, I'm done with school. Let's go back to the States.
Yes. We're so happy, Arlyn, that you were able to come full circle from starting your career as a young lady, spending 14 years as a mom in Philippines, and then re-entering the workforce. I mean, hats off to you. You have been there, done that, slept on benches, shared the sweet potato with the village. I think it's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Next question is going to go to Miss Heather. Drum roll, please. What has been the biggest dragon, the biggest fiery dragon in your life that you had to bring out two swords, not one, but two, to cut the dragon's head off? And not only did you cut the dragon's head off, you went back into the cave and got some other women out of there. Can you please, this is the highlight, one of the highlights of today's session. Can you please share that dragon that you slayed?
Well, I am a proud woman in recovery, and I am very vocal about it because I do not suffer in silence, because I feel like my story can help other women who are going through the same thing, especially being a professional woman, in that you turn to substances to help get you through other situations. And it really impacted me. And I have been in recovery for over 8 years now, and I'm very proud of that. It has not been an easy journey, but I also work with women in the recovery community who are struggling, who want to have and understand a better way of life, but just don't know how to get there. And I speak to my own experiences. I help take them to meetings. I help get them into places that can help them through whatever it is that they're going through, coming out the other side of things. But I am a living, breathing example of, if you want to change and you are willing to change, and again, want to be the best person you can be for yourself, for your family, and for your community, all you have to have is a glimmer of hope and a willingness to want to change, and be open to the suggestions that are provided to you, and your life will change immeasurably. I am where I am today through the gifts that other women gave me more than 8 years ago. And I will never forget where I came from. And I will speak and use my voice, because it's so important. Because there was, Ruba, I love that you talked about the stigma too. There's a stigma that's tied to so many things. And I choose to recover publicly because it holds me accountable. And it also, people can relate. You oftentimes, when I first came in to a 12-step program, I had I had misconceptions about what somebody like myself looked like in that instance. And guess what? We're so similar, and all of us have very similar stories and struggles, and it just takes what it takes in order to get there. But I've risen up like a phoenix through the ashes, and I'm here today. And I live, like I said, I live a life beyond my wildest imagination. And every day in recovery is better than any day that I spent struggling to find who I was, locked in a deep, dark corner, struggling. So anybody, if you have family members or anybody, I encourage you. And I'm always a resource. I actually work with people every single day who just want help. So that's what I've done in my life, and I continue, and I will do it every single day.
Yes, we applaud you, Heather, for slaying that dragon and keep it moving. I mean, Heather, you guys can connect. Put your contact information. Thanks, Lady T. Lady T is giving you a clap down with the reactions. And so please, let's continue on. Ruba, you are next. What has been your your greatest opportunity and challenge to overcome?
I'm not sure how
Wherever you want to start, however, whatever segment you'd like to share.
Part of this is kind of like absorbing what my sisters here on the screen are sharing as well. And so part of this is response to your question, Tish, but some of it is also just response to what I'm absorbing and reflecting on. I think it's funny, actually. I had a conversation with my daughter this morning about how sometimes things don't go as you plan. She was having a great morning, and then realized we're halfway out the door and she didn't have her socks on and the whole world was falling apart, and like it's a total like disastrous morning all of a sudden. And sometimes things don't happen the way we expect. And when I was in high school, I knew that I was going to be a marine biologist. And I went to college and I studied marine biology and I did some shark research, and I loved travel. I loved these beaches, getting on the boats and tagging sharks and taking pictures. And I learned in that experience that I didn't love a lot of the science part. I mean, I got it, I understood it, but gosh, what I loved most was talking to the local fishermen, understanding the communities and wondering how are they going to, understanding the challenges of development, how economic development like needs to happen, and how can we do that in a way that is supportive and sustaining of our resources, which are so invaluable that we rely so much on. And so that pivoted me a little bit into graduate school, where I studied international development.
Nice.
And then I thought, I'm going to work for the UN. I'm going to be an international global diplomat, because this is, and I had the opportunity to intern in 2 different offices in Kenya and in Jamaica. And again, kind of looking at policy, looking at breaking bread with rural communities, and just really trying to find my way, and along with all of these journeys I'll share is that there's so many things to hold on to, so many things to be passionate about, especially if you're kind of, I grew up hearing the phrase, think globally, act locally, and then thinking about my family's immigrant experience, understanding also the present day daily exercise of colonial power happening in my home country, caring about resources and sustainability, and being truly aligned socially, morally, ethically with all social justice issues, and kind of exploring all of that throughout this kind of journey to try and figure out, like, wait, what is my professional home?
Yes.
So I was convinced I was going to work for the UN. I had these opportunities to intern, and later worked with the World Wildlife Fund, and again found myself in finding myself being able to have the most rewarding impact when I was in local community, building relationships with people and moving forward from that. So I came back to the States around the time of the recession, feeling that think globally, act locally. Ruba, you've 15 years international. Let's get local and work with your community here. And that's what was my foray into adult education. And I have to say, being able to have to serve adults who are from all over the world, all different walks of life, and to I feel like, and my colleagues can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I feel like I'm able to bring all of my experience and all of my perspective and all the things I'm passionate and care about into this role, where we are, again, all walks of life, all different languages and cultures and backgrounds, building opportunity together for their education to help reshape what's possible for their futures and their families. And I just can't think of a better place that ties it all together than where I am today.
That's
I don't know if that
awesome.
answers your question.
That
but
does. And I'm going to circle back in just a second. When I ask you, what is your one tip to triumph, especially as the new CEO? So I'm going to come back, give you some food for thought on that. And I want to go to Arlyn. Okay. Let's see. I'm curious to find out, what do you love most about working at Amazon? I feel like Amazon is like this huge conglomerate that is just taking over everything. You don't have to leave your house. You just click a button and it shows up within hours at your doorstep. What is it like working at Amazon? Someone says, Lady T says, I love Amazon. So what is the experience? What is it like working at Amazon?
Amazon actually is very new to me. I got in there after when I was I quit my job hoping to go to another hotel, and then boom, COVID got in. So that hotel, which I was going to be transferring to, say, Arlyn, we're not going to go in operations. We have to shut down.
Wow.
Like, okay, pandemic. The only places I can go is either be it a health worker, which okay, I didn't like it. I just took it because my, Asians would always, the parents would dictate what you should take in college. So I took med college. Never had, I wouldn't say, but never enjoyed the atmosphere in the hospital. So I just worked. So either be at the health frontliner working in the hospital, or go to logistics. So I was applying to these two industries during the start of COVID. So after I was taken in by Amazon, I was like, okay, Amazon. So I was applying for operations manager, thinking, okay, area manager is too big for me. Let me do operations. But it was the other way around with Amazon. You have your own area to take care of. Operations is the bigger scale. So Arlyn, we can't give you operations. Would you take area? And I'm like, wouldn't that be harder? And they were explaining it to me. I said, okay. So one thing nice about Amazon is the opportunities that they give everybody. For somebody like my age, I wasn't thinking I'm going to be getting in, because when I got in, I was in line with all fresh college graduates. The stigma of, oh my God, I am so far behind with whatever technology that they know, and I don't. So one thing very nice about Amazon is you learn within, and what's funny is you do not learn from your managers. You learn from your direct reports. The people beneath you are actually the ones showing you what to do. And that is one thing that really amazes me with the different industries that I've been with. I wouldn't think that an associate, like somebody that works the line, would be able to explain to me, this is how you get to this report. You need to do this. So the thing about Amazon, I think what I've contributed among the college to the fresh graduates is the experience of managing people. I think is the part that I got in, that I'm contributing now to them. As I'm learning their processes, I'm contributing to how do we, a lot of young people, a lot of the millennials is more of, this is me, this, I think I'm so proud of. And part of that that customer obsession, which I've learned from the hotels too. You're obsessed with your customers, but this time it's more of, they've gotten too advanced that they have the obsession for 1 hour delivery, 2 hours delivery, and a day delivery. So it's the technology that they put in is what I'm so happy to be part of. And it's just there's no 2 day, no 2 days are alike. I would say it's something different every day that really amazes me. I don't know if I've answered your
You
question.
you have. I love the fact that you get to learn from your subordinates, and even you thought that the area job was bigger than your span of control, but in return, they flipped it on you. I love it. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into Amazon. Woohoo for you. Yeah. And your success, you're never too old. I mean, you just have to continue to learn and be willing to learn and grow, even if it's someone's younger than you. Okay, Heather, I'm going to give you this last question before I come around and give the final question and open it up to our audience for questions. So Heather, your question is, what has been your proudest motherhood mommy moment?
Oh my gosh.
I love Nora. I had to get a question in there for her.
I know it's, yeah, and Nora loves you and Lady T so much too.
Yes.
Oh gosh, it's being able to lead by example for my daughter, and also I will say this for my son as well, because I show him what a strong woman looks like, and I am helping guide him and show him, how he can help support women and be a gentleman, and help, just because you are a man, you are going to need to be an advocate, because we
Yes.
all need to have a seat at the table. However
Yes.
you identify, we need to support each other and be an advocate for each other. And with my proudest mommy moment too with my daughter is just watching her grow up and just experience in the world and being able to be present and available for her, and just watching her become this beautiful global citizen, where she's just so kind and compassionate, and she's so accepting. Our little ones, they are not born with all of these,
Hate.
yeah, exactly. And my children love freely, and they love, I get so emotional. They openly love
Yeah.
everyone who has a good heart and an open mind, regardless of what you look like, what you identify as,
Yes.
and where you come from.
Yes.
And to me, that is huge, because that is the only way we are going to survive as a human species, is to get together and love each other unconditionally, regardless of who you are, where you come from, what you look like. And to me, that's so important. So
Yes. And it's because you're their mom, Heather. It's because you don't see color. It's because your friends look like me and there's no stigma. You have gay friends, you have all types of people in your community, and you that you welcome. That's why your children are so loving, because you are so loving. Okay, I'm gonna give the last question. It's the same question for each of the ladies. And then I'll open it up for questions, and I'm gonna close this out to make sure that we remain respectful of time. Ruba, what is your tip that you would like to contribute to help our audience to triumph over life's experiences?
Thank you for the question, and thank all of you, Arlene and Heather, for sharing your stories. I've been really appreciative of your openness and of learning and sharing with you. I'm going to say, going back to sort of my journey and everything, I think that it can be very easy to feel like you're not where you thought you would be, or sort of having expectations for yourself and maybe not meeting them, or feeling like there are expectations upon you and feeling like the pressure of complying with them. So my response is to be open, be accepting of where you are. You are where you are. Doesn't matter how you got here. Doesn't matter where you thought you would be. You are where you are. And to listen to your gut, be open to your intuition, be open to the opportunities that present themselves to you. I think, Heather, you said that earlier. And I think that's so, so important, because we can be looking for or searching for and something, a mirage, but the reality is what's in front of us and where we are. And be open to learning, be open to friends and friendship and colleagues, and just be open to yourself and your possibilities. Don't be afraid of your potential.
Love it. Love it. Be open. Thank you, Ruba. Arlene, What is your tip to help our ladies and gent in the space to triumph over life's experiences? You've been married for 30 years. You've been a mommy for 14 years. You have come back into the workforce and you're back on top as an area operations logistics manager for Amazon. What is your tip?
Okay, well, thank you, ladies. I've learned a lot. Thank you very much. My tip, actually, this is a tip that I got from a very, very dear friend. Her name is Ate Evelyn. If you remember, we worked together, and she was like, when she sees me coming in, she would always say, "Wait, don't come in yet." And I said, "Why? Let's have this moment to pray over. That way we don't have any problems today."
Yes, yes.
Force, it's like I wake up in the morning praying. If I feel, if in my gut, I'm like, oh God, this is going to be a hard day at work, or oh my God, there's going to be chaos between my two kids. It's like, I bow my head, being silent prayer, and just ask for that guidance every day.
Yes.
Everything just smooths out for me. It's like, I can take everything now. Come on, give it to me.
Yes, bring it on. Bring it on. Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much, Arlyn. We have Be Open. We have prayer. Heather, you'll give the fourth, I'll give the fifth, and then we'll open up for questions.
Absolutely. So don't let fear hold you back.
Woo, woo. That's
many-
a drop the mic moment. That's a drop the mic moment. Do not let fear arrest you. Tell us more, Heather.
Fear is a manufactured, it's a self-manufactured thing in many cases. Granted, there are many reasons to be fearful of, rattlesnakes and, funny things like that. But in terms of going after what you want in life and realizing your true potential and who you can be, so many people are going to tell you the reasons not to, because guess what? They're still figuring out what they're doing themselves. So don't let their fear impact your ability to move forward, because that's the only way that we grow, is to continue to move forward and take action on those things. And the first thing we need to do is eliminate that fear. And you turn that fear, you get rid of the fear by turning it over. And as it's been discussed, pray on it, put it out there in the universe and just take that first step forward. And you'll be amazed at what happens in front of you.
Awesome. I am going to give the fourth. We have Be Open, pray, do not let fear get you. And for me, I want to leave you with mindset, right? Have a win-win mindset. Have a win-win mindset because you are loved. Because you are loved. Man, I'm telling you, I have been there, done that, and gotten the certificate for it. Like, there is a song that I learned and it says, I can search for all eternity, Lord, and find there is none. We can look for triumph, for victory, for love. We can look for it in education. We can look for it in a spouse. We can look for it in a child. We can look for it in the money and houses and everything. But I learned all you have is all you need. All you have is all you need, right? Be open to what comes your way. Say a prayer when you get overwhelmed. Don't worry about fear and remember that you always win because you are loved. Those are the four things we want to give, but I'm going to open it up. Please feel free to take your microphones, open them up. Raise your hand and let's get to some questions for our panelists.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
I believe the first, I see your hand is raised, Lioness, but you're on mute. So I'm going to go to my sister that I met, I think at BB and Peas. Please,
Yes.
what's your question?
Yes, yes, and thank you real quick, Tish. This is an amazing event. My question is for Heather. You said something that was so impactful. Tish knows this. I'm actually working on a memoir right now, and it's very personal to my life and my story. My father was actually an alcoholic, so that's why, and he unfortunately passed away. But you said something about like, I don't know if you said healing publicly, but you just like to share your story publicly. And I'm just kind of curious about, are there any challenges for you with that? Because that's kind of the journey that I'm going down with my memoir, and it's a healing process, but it's also revealing a lot about my life and, you know, my family, and it's a little scary. And so I'm just kind of curious about, you know, what are some of the challenges with being open about your journey with addiction, and how do you overcome those challenges?
Great question.
So
I
that's
love it.
Yeah, fantastic question. And, you know, and kudos to you, my friend, for, you know, working through, because it's writing a memoir is also your process of healing too, through, you know, your familial history and kind of what I refer to as, you know, kind of breaking that, you know, that chain and moving forward, you know, in the family. We talk about that oftentimes in our 12-step program. And I too, that's my addiction. I didn't have anything. I'm an alcoholic. And yes, is it challenging? Yes. And I have, and Tish can attest to this as well, where I've been very vocal and shared in the workspace environment before. And I have had some people who have not been so open to and receptive to me sharing that. And I've actually been had people tell me that I shouldn't share things like that because I am an HR professional. And quite honestly, that's their problem and it's not my problem.
Yes.
And because obviously when again, it's that whole fear thing. They're obviously projecting on me something that they may be dealing with personally. It's not like I'm out there, you know, taking the big book and, you know, saying everybody needs and, you know, all alcohol is bad. No, alcohol is bad for me. It's not bad for the, you know, for those of you who can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but for so long, there was such a stigma tied to, you know, substance use disorder. And it's people are getting help now, and people are recovering in greater numbers. But also, too, conversely, there's a lot of people who we've lost along the way because they haven't been able to share their story. And so, me personally, I feel like I have a personal responsibility, even if people aren't prepared to hear it. And even if I might lose out on a job opportunity or people might not want to be around me because of it, that's their loss. And it wasn't meant to be in the whole, you know, cycle and universe of things, because there's something bigger and greater out there for me, because there's enough people who do want to bring me on board. Because guess what? I show up, I'm responsible. You ask me to be there and I'm going to be there. And I do what I say I'm going to do, because today I am responsible. And that's one of our quotes that we have. So for you, my friend, you know, just keep doing and again, it goes back to the fear thing. Don't let fear hold you back, because everybody's always going to come up with a reason to tell you why you shouldn't be doing something. Yeah. So I hope that helps answer the question. And thank you
so much.
Thank you for letting me share. We always say that at the end of our meetings. So.
And please put your email in the chat if you can, everyone. That'll be great. Lioness, you are up next, my friend. And then I would love a question from Nicolette as well. I know she has one.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was wondering, as all of these beautiful ladies, strong ladies, have shared so much of their journey or a part of their journey with us, I was wondering if there was anything from your past that you could change. What would that be? So, sorry, my kids are up, so.
If there's anything from your past that you could change, what would it be? Who wants to take that, Ruba or Arlyn?
I'll start. I would not change a thing. We grow from our experiences, we learn from our experiences, and we become who we are. We have the opportunity to reinvent ourselves every day, and redefine what our future will be. And we can only do that with the perspective that we've gained and and been gifted with
Yes.
from our past experiences. So I would not be who I am today and where I am today if
That's right.
anything in my past were different. And I wouldn't change a thing.
I love it. I wouldn't either. Arlene, what do you say?
I would say the same thing. I'm not going to change anything. Every step that I took brought me to where I am right now. That's how.
Yes, wonderful. Nicolette, I can see your hand raised in your hat. I can see it. I can see it.
Thank you, Tish. You ladies were so awesome. I loved it all. But
Awesome.
as I was thinking and watching and listening to you, it just came to mind. I was thinking, because I find when we see celebrated women, successful women, women of accomplishment, there are those who think, oh my gosh, she's always confident. She's always positive. She always has it together, even though you are telling us some of the moments that you've had in the past that has been stumbling blocks and moments of doubt. But now, currently, in your success, are there moments that you doubt yourself? I was in a conference and, I try to consider myself, and I do consider myself as a successful person, but here I was in a room of equally successful people, and I had a question to ask, and my heart was literally pounding out of my chest. And I'm like, why am I so scared? Like, I belong here. I know stuff.
Yes.
So I was wondering, am I the only one this happens to? So I asked you, are there times, even in your success, even when you know you're accomplished and you have all these things, that you are fearful of the space that you're in and what others might think of you?
I'm going to ask Heather to answer that question because I know there's one example that I think in specifically my mind. So Heather, please, and any of the panelists, once we have time, want to be respectful. Yes.
Yes, so I just recently, and Tish, I'm actually going to use a more recent example. Here I am, I sometimes feel like, and I actually was discussing this with a colleague the other day, who she's our regional director over in one of our international areas. And we both were talking about feeling like sometimes we have imposter syndrome because we're like, there's just so much being thrown at us, and the world is evolving so quickly. And specifically in matters of HR, I literally feel like every day I wake up and some new law, regulation, something else is happening in the world that, and when somebody asks me a question, sometimes I'm like, I get frozen with fear and I'm like, oh my God, is this the right answer that I'm giving them? And then I have to stop and tell myself, Heather, you've been doing this for 20 plus years. Like, hello, you know what you're talking about.
Yes,
but it's I get it all. So you are not alone, my friend. And it's just, you got to stop, pause and reflect, and then say, you're not going to get me this time, fear, and then just move forward. But imposter syndrome, sometimes I feel,
Ruba, Arlene, would you like to add?
I would love to, if it's okay. I think imposter syndrome happens. It's a real thing. We are human. So it's totally, we get thrown curveballs and there's the moment of like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this? But I think ultimately, at least for me, I handle it through accepting, this is where I am. This is what I know. This is what I don't know. And here's my team. And we are all human. And it's one of my big, just my approach to life is collaboration. We learn together, we work together, we grow together. So when I don't know something, I just tell my team, I'm like, I don't really know what we're doing here. Like, what are your ideas? And I think that authenticity,
transparency,
that humility, and that transparency resonates and empowers my staff to let their voices be elevated. And we figure it out together.
Arlene, final answer for the night?
Yeah, I agree with that. Teamwork, anything that you do, you do it together. And I always say there's no right or wrong answer. If I can't answer it, I'll go and find somebody to answer it for you, is what I usually say. But teamwork, depending on other people that you work with, it makes life easier. So never doubt yourself. It would always come to you. But knowing that you have the support system of everybody around you should make things easier.
Awesome. I'm going to give out our 2 awards with the last minute. I'm going to ask our panelists to stay at the end, but the person with the most provocative question, I'm going to give that to Neka. If you can just make sure that I have your, I'm going to just put your telephone number down so that I can mail that to you. In the chat. Thank you so much. I mean, that was risky to share. Your dad was an alcoholic. He passed away. You're writing your memoir, stretching yourself. And I am putting it in here as 651 592 2610. And the person with the most participants goes to Miss Ruba. She has her mommy, she has her daddy, she had her organization, Indy Reads. She had Lisa, her former colleague from Literacy Council of Northern Virginia. I just want to shout out Mallory, again, Nicolette, Lioness. I see Sinead Tate in the house, one of my Howard sisters holding it down. Lady T. Again, we go back with Heather. I see Carolyn and Sahar. It's been an indeed honor, a privilege, and a pleasure. I want to be respectful of your time. It is 101. Make it a triumphant Tuesday on purpose. Stay tuned for our next flyer that Lioness will help me. Lioness was the young lady who asked the question on Fear. She put together the flyer for me. And please stay tuned for our June meeting. Until next time, please stay, panelists, keep shining. Toodles, thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please stay, Arlene. Please stay, Heather. Please stay, Ruba. Let's take a group picture of the 4 of us. All right. How awesome was that, ladies?
That flew by.
So fast. I know it did. I was like, I have more questions.
It really did go by very fast. I was, and then again, I was so nervous, like the whole imposter syndrome. I was like, oh my gosh, am I gonna say the right things? And
you did it. You did it.
Heather, you are so articulate and so like great, on point with your message.
On the feed.
I'm sitting there like, oh, let me just like, I'm just gonna brainstorm this answer out loud.
Thank you. And all of you ladies are the same way. It's you just the richness and depth, and it just, I think all of our stories, even though they are so different, there's an intersection with all of them. And it's just like Tish always says, triumph over adversity.
Yes. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. And I'm gonna take a photo. Let me clean my camera just a little bit, because I am the social media queen. Gotta give you.
I would love to like just chat with all of these ladies.
Of course.
Tish, thank you for bringing us together.
Of course. Lunch is on me. Just let me know when in June you want to make that happen.
Yeah, June will be better because we have our International Women's Day that's coming up in June. So we're a little crazy right now.
You guys ready to smile? I'm gonna take a picture. Put your picture face on 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Got it. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad people were like, I'm inspired. I'm loving it. Is there a way for me to save or get the chat?
There should be.
If it's recorded, the chat should be.
I should stop recording. And thank you, Heather.